Previously on Vietnam Discovery, we traveled together and visited Phu Thao province to learn about the sun plant farming and harvesting. I deepened my appreciation for creativity and meticulousness in Vietnamese lacquer art when I was shown the resin of the sun tree, the precious material given by nature. We also became so excited to contemplate lacquer's masterpieces by distinguished Vietnamese artists on display at the Vietnam National Fine Arts Museum. Finally, we arrived at the Hanoi Integrated Vocational School, where we discussed with painters creating lacquer works and got a glimpse of traditional Vietnamese lacquer manufacturing. Let's continue our adventure into lacquer art on today's show with me, Holland, a freelance artist from America. As I say farewell to trainees at the lacquer workshop, I stop by the exhibition chamber of Hanoi's Integrated Vocational School, founded in 1961. The school was initially a handicraft workshop gathering many skilled artisans from craft villages around Hanoi. This school used to provide training in traditional crafts and create high-class handicrafts for export before Vietnam's renovation period in 1986. The golden age of Vietnamese lacquer art was from 1975 to 1989 when there were large orders from trade agreements signed with socialist countries.
Đây cũng là một cái cá vàng. Một lần có thể nhìn xem cái bề mặt, cái chất liệu sơn nó có cái gì khác nhau hay không.
This one is a very red tint and brown, and this one is green. This one looks much more modern in its technique. What is the age of these products?
Cái này được vẽ những năm 1960 và cái này thì là những năm 1980. Cái này là thời chiến tranh và cái này là sau khi hòa bình lập lại. Trước khi chấm dứt chiến tranh là chỉ có sơn ta để vẽ, nhưng mà sau năm 75 thì để làm các cái đồ mỹ nghệ dùng cho xuất khẩu thì là họ có thêm một cái sơn gọi là ở Việt Nam vẫn gọi là sơn Nhật. Sơn này vẽ rất dễ nhưng mà có thể nhìn thấy cái màu nó không có cái độ trầm và sâu được như là cái màu của cái sơn ta của Việt Nam. Đây những cái này được vẽ trong các cái thời.
Comparable to lacquer painting works, Vietnam's high-class lacquer handicrafts have been presented in a wide range of exhibitions and major diplomatic events. An interesting example was the stationery set at the 1973 Paris Peace Accords, including sign desks, document boxes, flag stands, pens, and ink boxes, all of which were lacquer pieces.
Đây là cái bộ dùng để cắm hai cái bút để ký kết có bà Nguyễn Thị Bình của Việt Nam và ông ngoại trưởng của Mỹ. Các nghệ nhân của trường đã làm.
Wow, so that's not just one of the most important things for Vietnam, but for the world. The symbol, the red color as the symbol of the Vietnamese people, and the symbol of the land is very beautiful for such an important moment. When lacquer craft was still prospering, a large number of trainees were still attending the school. Most of them were members of handicraft cooperatives all across northern Vietnam. However, lacquer craft, like many other traditional crafts in Vietnam, is on the verge of being forgotten. Most of the current trainees in this school are painting enthusiasts who want to study traditional lacquer art for their personal work. Sun Ta is now mostly used in the art of painting. Xin chào anh. I dropped by painter Nguyen Quoc Hui's house. Listening to his stories of his decades of devotion to lacquer painting, I've really come to understand his affection and passion for lacquer as a fine art. Where did your journey of lacquer begin?
Bố tôi là một người thợ sơn mài. Tôi tiếp xúc với cái chất liệu sơn mài từ bé. Khi tôi học đại học thì tôi quyết định là tôi học chuyên khoa sơn mài để mà biến cái sơn mài mỹ nghệ thành tác phẩm mỹ thuật.
I see you love nature and the countryside of Vietnam in your work.
Cái sáng tác nhiều nhất của tôi là mảng tranh đề tài thiên nhiên phong cảnh. Tôi rất hay vẽ những cái cây rất là lớn. Những cái cây này nó sống nhiều trăm năm. Hàng ngày có những người ta trò chuyện, người ta kể về cuộc đời của người ta. Tôi chứng kiến hết những cái câu chuyện đấy. Mình nhìn vào cái cây này mình có thể nghe được những cái câu chuyện của những người ta đã từng đến đây.
2018, painter Nguyen Quoc Huy held his own exhibition in Hanoi, which was called Fairyland. The exhibition featured 29 lacquer pieces which were reminiscent of a fanciful, pleasant, and tranquil worlds full of memories of old-time Vietnamese countryside villages. Notably, those pieces of art also reflect painter Huy's accomplishments and creativity in lacquer painting. In the art of lacquer, brilliant colors and gold inlaid details are often appreciated in high-class handicrafts. However, painters tend to moderate this brilliance in their paintings. Many painters are now aiming to achieve mastery of using materials like gold and silver in lacquer painting.
Đây là mây rất nhiều lớp bồng bềnh chồng chéo lên nhau. Trước tôi chưa có người nào vẽ sương mù, vẽ mây, khói, độ ẩm không khí bằng chất liệu sơn mài. Trong sơn mài, cái bạc là rất khó dùng. Tôi mất 10 năm để biến cái bạc đấy vốn là kim loại nặng mà lại trông như là sương khói.
I'm curious how you start a piece knowing you're going to spend a year, maybe more, working on it. Do you start with the material or do you start with the subject matter?
Bản thân chất liệu sơn mài thì rất là quý, tuy nhiên nó cũng có những hạn chế nhất định. Người ta nói là sơn mài là cái chất liệu không phải để tả, mà chất liệu là chỉ là gợi và làm trang trí. Tôi đã mong muốn là dùng chất liệu sơn mài để tả chứ không phải là để gợi nữa. Sơn mài là tương phản mạnh, đỏ, vàng, đen đặt cạnh nhau. Thì tôi lại làm tương phản nhẹ, làm đơn sắc.
These paintings really remind me of like memories of childhood that take me to mysterious places I want to go. Like the pathway you glimpse or the mountains in the distance, they like excite a sense of exploration that take the mind past the painting. I am quite amazed when entering painter Nguyen Quoc Huy's workshop. How can this extremely damp and hot house be a place for creating meticulous and stunning lacquer works? Very, very humid, hot room.
Cái nhà cấp 4 rột như này, cũ như này, nó ẩm đến mức độ cái tường nó mốc lên này thì nó mới phù hợp với cả việc vẽ trên sơn mài. Bởi vì sơn mài nó phải u ẩm với khô.
Nước.
Được. Khi tôi vẽ xong, tôi phun nước này cho cái vải này nó ướt. Úp vào tranh nó mới khô được.
It's really interesting because normally what you read about when you're working with lacquer is you want temperature controlled rooms. Even a lot of the famous lacquer painters I've read about, they're using very expensive temperature controlled rooms. In Vietnam, lacquer, it's already so humid in the climate, and he's taken full advantage of that humidity in the natural environment and created a room that doesn't need millions of dollars to control the temperature. The more I learn about Vietnamese lacquer, the more I learn how many different little tricks and techniques there are in the process. There seems to be dozens of ways to do the same thing, and all of them result in different textures, colors, and experiences for the painter and for the viewers. When studying art in America and Europe, we often would learn the ancient technique of gold leaf. I remember in my time I would go to stores and purchase it for use in my classes. But artisan craftsmen in the outskirts of Hanoi can come here to Teotihuacan Village to learn how to use this ancient technique and how it's created. Let's go find out what the sound is. It's very loud.
Xin chào.
I am now at Vietnam's 400-year-old gold leaf craft village Kio Ki in the Gia Lam district, Hanoi. Mr. Lê Ba Vom is a famous gold leaf artisan who has trained many gold leaf makers in the village. His glossy flagstone and hammer are decades-old family heirlooms. In Kyoki village, it takes nearly 40 different steps to create a batch of 490 gold leaves. A skilled maker can hammer one mace of gold leaf into 980 thin gold leaves, totaling more than 1 square meter. Particularly, gold leaf makers have to hammer no less than 400 times evenly and continuously in about 1 hour. If they stopped for a while, the gold leaves would cool down and they would have to start the process all over again.
It's so thin. It's so absolutely thin.
Rất mỏng.
I just touched it a tiny bit and it instantly stuck to my finger.
Nếu mà được là nó phải ra xung quanh này nữa cơ.
Each piece has a bit of a unique shape and quality to it. You can really tell that this is not made by a machine, but it's been crafted by hand. Do you work with different types of gold or do you just work with rose gold?
Nó có 2 loại thôi. Một loại là màu vàng nguyên chất, màu vàng nguyên thủy này và một loại vàng xanh. Ok. Đa. Ê. 1 2 xoay. 1 2 xoay.
1 2
2
xoay.
xoay. Ok.
1 2 xoay.
Xoay.
1 2 xoay. 1 2 1.
Thong thả thôi nhá. Búa lặng.
Sure.
Mr. Vom takes me to the room where his family members are processing gold before it is hammered. Ribbons of gold measure 1 centimeter in width and are cut into 1 square meter pieces and then put into quy, a special material made from melted buffalo skin and traditional Vietnamese saw paper.
Wow.
Giấy này, một tờ giấy này, một lá vàng chạy vào thành một gói như thế này. Đây là lửa chỉ vàng.
Wow. You can definitely tell the industrialized process of the ones we have access to in America and Europe, but this is a truly special object, like the form of art in itself.
Mr. Vom leads me to the shrine of Nguyen Quy Chi, the man who is honored as the founder of the handicraft in Kyoki village. Inside the shrine, the statue of Nguyen Quy Chi, inlaid with handmade gold leaves, looks august. The statue symbolizes the villagers' gratitude to their founding predecessor. Most notably is the lacquer painting drawn in the ancient style that Mr. Vom has said is a century-old, one-of-a-kind worshipping painting that is solemnly put on the wall. The painting's beauty is also lacquer art's beauty, which is partially created from materials produced in Kyoki village. What a mind-blowing experience to come across such an interesting fact that shows the connections between traditional craft villages in different parts of Vietnam. Along with the development of the market economy and tourism in Vietnam, traditional high-class lacquer crafts have seen many changes. Products with reasonable prices and good decorative values that can be sold as souvenirs or gifts are a new trend. Brilliant colors, wide diversity, that's what I've noticed in lacquer products that are ubiquitous around Hanoi these days. In lacquer shops like this, I can find lacquer vases, trays, and decorative objects that are made from traditional materials like wood, pottery, or even novel ones like bamboo, composite, or fiberglass. Hat Thai Lacquer Craft Village, which is 30 kilometers from Hanoi's downtown, is a modern hub for creating lacquer works and products.
Hôm nay rất là vui được mời Holland vào thăm làng nghề Hạ Thái. Giới thiệu với Holland đây là cổng làng Hạ Thái.
Okay.
Và làng nghề sơn mài Hạ Thái của chúng tôi khởi nguồn là tổ hợp Thanh Hà từ những năm 1955 đến năm 1960 thì làng nghề sơn mài đã thành lập một cái hợp tác xã sơn mài Bình Minh. Đến năm 1992 thì bắt đầu hợp tác xã Sơn Mài theo cơ chế nhà nước đã được giải thể, và hợp tác xã Sơn Mài Bình Minh lúc bấy giờ chuyển đổi tất cả các doanh nghiệp lúc bấy giờ được cơ chế là phát triển theo hình thức là doanh nghiệp tư nhân.
In Ha Thai Lacquer Village, as well as preserved features of a handicraft village, is the allocation of work among households. Some households create buck panels, some are in charge of sanding, and others do the drawing or painting, but all of them cooperate to make the final products. Ha Thai villagers are very friendly and willing to talk about their jobs. That's the feeling I have when I visit any lacquer workshop here. I have an appointment with Mr. Chan Kom Zum, a painter living and working in Ha Thai Craft Village. He is a representative of a new thinking in lacquer craft and currently among those who receive many orders for high-class lacquer products.
Wow. This is amazing. This is what a true artist studio looks like. There's chaos everywhere. There's so many things happening. You can't tell what he's working on. He's working on 20, 30, 40 things at the same time.
He's taken modern 3D printing and combined it with Vietnamese wood carving and a final coat of traditional lacquer technique. This is definitely a piece of work you would only see in the 21st century.
It's amazing to see such a unique artist studio in such a village on the outskirts of Hanoi.
When I first met Zum, my first impression was that he looked kind of like a farmer, but I realized his fascinating artistic mind after talking with him for a few moments.
Mình muốn tạo ra một cái xưởng nó có không khí khác đi một tí, tức là đến nó không chỉ có tranh vẽ, vì tranh vẽ không nó buồn lắm, thì mình tạo ra một số cái sản phẩm nó thứ nhất là cái công việc nó vui vẻ, cái thứ hai nữa là người ta đến người ta có cái để xem để có thể dùng được luôn. Nó như kiểu là vào một cái xưởng của một ông nông dân chẳng hạn, ngoài những cái sản phẩm to tát người ta phải được vặt cái quả ổi hay quả táo thì mang đút túi mang về đấy.
I very much share that sentiment. I feel that if your life is crazy, your work will be crazy, and if your life is simple, your work will be simple. So I try to do the same with my work environment. In my studio, I try to make it as eccentric and crazy as possible so it make my work that same way. Why have you selected to have your studio and your space of creation in a village that's so well known for lacquer products?
Làm sơn mài đây nó rất thuận lợi để mà anh làm ra một cái sản phẩm. Có cái sự hỗ trợ của người làm nghề rất là nhiều. Đấy. Cái thứ hai nữa là cái mặt bằng nó tương đối rẻ để bọn anh có thể sở hữu được một cái mặt bằng như thế này. Để cái quan trọng nhất là nó có cái người làng người ta làm giúp đỡ mình rất là nhiều khâu.
Modern decorative lacquer products should have brilliant and eye-catching colors as well as reasonable prices. While Suntag gives items a deep and artistic look, it is vastly more expensive. Customers favor colorful products, so most modern lacquer items are painted with industrial paints and lacquers. Zum does not consider size and material to be the decisive factor in creating lacquer works. What he cares about is their aesthetics. Therefore, he never hesitates to experiment with new materials. He aspires to bring lacquer, a traditional material, into the modern life in houses.
Cái này nó còn cái phần mài nữa. Mà anh đang thử nghiệm sơn mài trên một cái miếng mica.
How do you find the lacquer bond to the plastic? Does it work well?
Tại bây giờ là sơn mài của mình nó đang bị nặng quá. Cái thứ hai nữa là nó nhiều cái bất tiện thì mình muốn cho người ta cái nó tiện lợi hơn. Mình đang thử nghiệm thôi, cũng chưa biết nó có thành công hay không. Nên là mình muốn ví dụ như là người ta có thể thích một cái sơn mài này của mình nhưng người ta có thể quậy, người ta mang về được thì có phải là ấy đâu, đúng không? Tiện hơn là rất là nhiều.
Zum tells me that he is the kind of artist that can live on retailing each lacquer product. He wants the public to know about and use lacquer items in daily life so that Vietnamese lacquer craft would never fall into oblivion. This is a noteworthy way of thinking when it comes to preserving lacquer craft villages. Xin chào. Though I do not have much time, I still hope to get the gist of the process through his hands-on experience with lacquer materials and techniques. When I express my wish to attempt their work at a painting workshop, I'm immediately welcomed by the workers.
Cưa là cưa từ dưới cưa lên.
Right now, he's very carefully sawing through this mother of pearl. It's a material that comes with a lot of different imperfections, thin and thick sections, so you have to pay very close attention to when you're sawing it. Oh. Oh. I broke it again. It's very, very difficult. So he's carved a border around the object that we want to remove so we can inlay the mother of pearl. Once you've cut that deep border, you slowly scrape away that section of the lacquer you want to remove. So nice painting on the lacquer. It's an incredibly smooth surface, so the brush just glides across it. There's almost no effort or friction when you're painting. It's a very, very smooth process. After my first 3 hours sitting in a local artisan village outside of Hanoi, creating work with other Vietnamese artists, I've learned some really interesting new techniques. This is the first layer, and it'll have many, many more steps before it is complete, and I look forward to learning the rest of the techniques to complete this interesting art form. Okay. Wow. So, would you use a different type of sandpaper when sanding the industrial lacquer versus the traditional lacquer?
Giấy đá vẫn giống nhau ấy. Sơn công nghiệp thì mình phải mạnh tay hơn. Còn sơn ta thì mình cứ đẩy nhẹ nhàng, nó vẫn có thể là ra được.
How many times average do you sand a single piece?
Khoảng 4 lần mài.
Do I sand on the eggshell?
Mài ra.
Yeah? Okay. As I'm sanding, I'm not only making the piece smoother, but I'm also revealing some textures and colors that were hidden under those bumpy layers.
Mài mạnh thì nó mới bằng được.
Keep on sanding, keep on sanding, keep on sanding. Keep on sanding, keep on sanding, keep on sanding.
Sờ đây nhá.
Yeah.
Giáp giáp này. Đây sờ cái này.
Whoa, okay, okay, wow. Yeah, I can feel how different that is. So you're gonna start with your heavier grit sandpaper and then slowly work down to your light grit so you get a really smooth, polished surface. You can already see where I've messed up here, and I've removed all the paint that I did previously, making the steps I did before purposeless, because I just remove it.
Mài mà khi mà nó vào các cái chỗ vẽ mà mất thì mình có thể vẽ lại. Sờ lại là được rồi. Bây giờ là để khô xong là vẽ lại cái chỗ mất.
Yeah. So this is where we accidentally sand away the color.
Đúng rồi.
So now I have to come back in and repaint if I want that color there.
Đấy. Bây giờ vẽ lại theo ý tưởng của bạn đấy.
là xong lại đợi khô xong bắt đầu mài qua xong quát.
So now I'm moving on to the next step, which is using the lacquer to apply the silver leaf. I think I'm going to go up here into the upper left-hand corner of my piece. I'm going to try to build up a lot of texture and get some emotional movement with the silver leaf. Do a little bit more experimentation. I can be less detailed and more free with how I apply it. So right now I'm trying two different application methods. One is I'm trying to do some nice little detail on the fish in the center of the eye I've attempted to create. So that's a little bit more of precision applying of the gold leaf or silver leaf. And on the outside, I'm going to try more random, more textural application. So I'm still learning, but I really want to see the difference of trying to put the silver leaf in a very detailed place versus putting it in a more free and chaotic way. So after attempting to try some of the different styles and techniques of the lacquer work, from the eggshells to the mother of pearl to the silver leaf, I've really learned I've done a lot of things wrong that I'd like to change. Right now I really feel like I've overpowered it too much with the silver. The silver is everywhere and it's way too eye-catching, and all those fine details I did with the color now have kind of disappeared in the work. Definitely this piece needs a lot more work, and I'm starting to understand why lacquer painters spend hundreds of hours on a single piece, building and building up the layers. Each layer can correct the mistakes of the past, and I've definitely made a lot of mistakes, so I think I'm going to make a lot more layers.